Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. Today is Monday. This video will be out on YouTube, so my YouTube followers as well. We had a whole week of live session last week. If you missed it, go watch all the recordings. They're in YouTube. In every one of them, there's a small educational piece that will probably help you in your trading. Those traders who seeing this video for the very first time, you definitely want to watch the work I do. It's called wave analysis, something I created. So you might want to go take a look how it works, right? Those 10 videos there would really change your trading. Please share this video because there's a lot of traders who have never seen my videos. And when they do see it, the first thing they would say, I wish I'd seen it a year earlier. In that case, I wouldn't have lost my account and I would have saved it. For those of you who like the work I do, please click the like, please share your comments. If you share your thoughts in the comments, then traders would know what to expect when they watch the video. Right, that might be able to, and then at the same time, even if they don't read the comments, here's a good thing. The YouTube video spreads the video more when there's a lot of comments in it, right? So please please help someone else see the video. Let's go, let's start. Dollar index. So dollar index went up over the top. We were expecting, if you remember last week, I told you when they come down slowly, two things you're probably expecting. And if you were there on Friday with us, we were looking at this, that this could drop. That could drop because we broke the top of this structure, or it could actually just come down a little here, go back up, make a new high, and then drop. And both of those are absolutely correct. If you don't see both of those possibilities in trading and you're a trader, you have a problem, right? You definitely have a problem if you don't see both of those possibilities. And it wouldn't change structurally what we were expecting. That is, this is coming down. So here is the question now when it comes down there. And this is where you know when you're becoming a trader, right? Do we expect this to go break the low? That's one thing. Or secondly, if this is going to go back up, right? So if it's going to go back up, then it's not going to go back up now because we're going to be staying here for pretty much a month or two before we go back up. If we're making a bigger flat on this whole structure to retest this top, and that's the only way we probably go back up, we can do two things. We can make a bigger flat and retest that top, which means this will make a flat here and keep going up. Keep going up, keep going up, get somewhere to about the top here, drop, break the low, and then go back up. So I still think we might get more trade on this if that is the plan. But what if we're just dropping to retest the low? Then we don't have to go anywhere. This is enough of a correction for this to continue to drop all the way to the bottom. Right? So those are the two options. If you're watching this video and you don't understand wave analysis, this is what you would ask yourself. But you just give us two options, one up, one down. How do we trade it? And that's the question. How do you trade it? Well, it's simple. You just come to the 1 hour and you wait for a trade setup either way. What would be the trade setup either way? What would be your money management in trading it? What is going to be your risk management in trading it? And what is going to be your trade management in trading it is what will make you a trader. It's not which direction it's going to go right now. It's what would you do or what would you wait for to decide which direction it's going? And if it's going in that direction, how do you take the trade? Because that is always going to be the question, even if you're a long-term investor. That's what investors do. Where do I think this asset is going to go eventually, right, in the longer term? And what would be my risk if it doesn't go? Where would we want to exit that whole thing if it doesn't go? When would we exit it? What would you be looking for to exit it, right? And if you have all of that in advance before you click that trade, you're a trader. If you click the trade and then you're going to ask everybody, hey, I'm in this trade, is now going, what should I do? Well, then you're not a trader as yet because you don't have a plan of what you should do and what you're going to do if it doesn't go your way. If it goes your way, of course, you're a great trader because now you can go show everybody I made a wonderful trade. Look, I click it here, I bought it here, and it's going to heaven. Great. That is a good trade. Nothing's wrong with that trade. The problem is you're not a trader still. You just made a winning trade, but you're not a trader. You become a trader when you start managing your losing trade. That is when you become a trader. When you start managing all your losing trades to the least possible loss, likely break even. Because the reason you're losing your account is not because you can't make a winning trade. I think every account that is lost will see some really big winning trades in them, really good winning trades. But that's not why they lost. They lost because the problem is they couldn't manage their losing trades. You're losing your account because of you don't know what to do with your losing trades. That's why you lose. And sometimes it's not a lot. Sometimes it's just 4 or 5 losing trades that break your account. So if you don't have a good money management, trade management rule, you're going to lose your account eventually. That is why you lose your account. I've seen accounts where 80% win-loss ratio, they're winning 80% of the trade. They're winning so small that when the losses come, like, boom. And they're losing so big that like 5 trades, that account is out, gone totally. And you wonder how in so many trades, only 5 trades could blow up the account. Well, that's how most trades are lost. Most accounts are lost. So you become a trader when you learn to manage your losing trades. That's when you can say, well, okay, now I'm a pro trader because I know how to deal with these losing trades and they don't bother me because I have rules of how I'm going to do it. Then if you know that and you have rules how to do that, great, you're starting the trade. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to expect both directions, but we know what to look for. So if we get a consolidation here, we're selling. We're selling with the intention that it's going to drop all the way to the bottom and it's going to continue to go. That's the intention because that's the only reason why we're selling it. That necessarily might not happen. That's not necessarily going to happen, to put it correctly. And then if that doesn't happen, guess what? I'm not worried. None of my traders are worried because we have a plan for if that is going to happen. We're already assuming that it's not going to happen. Although the trade we're taking is that it's going to go there, but we know, well, if it doesn't happen, what are we looking for to say, well, okay, it's still not going to happen, or it could still happen, or it's now going to go the opposite direction and we need to get the hell out of it. And most times, 80% of the time, we will get the hell out of it for break even. That's a proven fact, right? And if you don't believe it, follow us, you will see. We'll show you that. Go look at the 1 week video, you'll see. The winning trades, the losing trades, and the break-even trades. So you would get to see all of that. Nothing was hidden there. They were all live and it was all recorded. So this is what you need to do. All the hypes on the internet wouldn't make you a trader. So we're looking for a sell setup because of many reasons it has a sell setup on it. Now let's go. Silver did break the low, and that's one of the things we talk about. I think we didn't buy the silver, but we bought gold on Friday. Once you miss the small trade, the aggressive trade we were doing, which didn't go exactly how we wanted, which means they didn't take off like a rocket immediately. But that's not a problem because that is more of a fun trade when we trade the news. This is your trade. This is where you start looking for, this is my trade to the upside. If that stays there, we go with that trade to the upside. You're getting a good consolidation. You can put your stop here, you can put your entry there, and we will be looking for a trade to go back to the top now. If this goes, we know where it's going. Because the likelihood is if it goes, we're coming back to this top and maybe even break out of this structure, right? Maybe even break out of that structure because this is a consolidation. Or we just come back to the top here and then we'll see if we're going back down again, depending on whether we break the top. It all depends on how it goes to the top as well. If they go as a consolidation, we're going to expect it to drop like this one here, right? Well, this one we expect it to drop because we know it's coming from the top, right? This is coming from the bottom. We'll see what happens when we get there. So how it goes up will tell us where it's going. Now, what if it doesn't go up? You'll say, well, okay, you just said this is going to go up, but look, I was waiting for the buy and then it just dropped back to the bottom here. I was like, okay. At that point, we already know what to do, right? We just let it go back up or buy it back to the top, and then we look for the sell. It's not like we haven't seen one of that before. But you should not make that forecast now. You don't make that forecast until it comes back to the bottom. Because the minute you start saying, well, it might come back to the bottom and then go up, you're gonna freeze yourself from taking the buy. You're not gonna take the buy setup because you just say, oh my God, it's not gonna go, it could come back down. So I think we can put an entry order for a buy right now. I think it's a valid one. If it becomes a channel, you will know what to do. And if you can see what I mean by it's going to become a channel, which means the possibility of a channel, if you see that possibility, then you understand wave analysis to some extent. If it's not going to be a channel, it's just going to take off like a rocket. Because very likely, what if it comes down all the way to here? Well, you know what to do, pull off the trade and then wait for the next setup. This does not have a sell setup. So we'll put this as a buy. I'll take off all of these. That was last week. And if you're watching my video for the first time, I know the first couple thing I'm taking too long to do, but I want to let traders understand what we do here, because this is where, you can help traders actually. And if they do want to join us, they know how to do that. So we're going to go to the gold, and gold was a good one, turned out to be a good one. So we broke the stop, they got off. This looks too sharp to be all the correction. I think it is. So we would assume that would be part of the correction. This was the first move down. I don't think that's all the correction. So there's a very good chance this thing could come back pretty low. Could come back like this. We might be in a much more complex pattern forming here. We'll see that. Let's go here. We don't, unlike what we have in silver, we don't have a buy setup here. It's pretty clear. They're coming down. There's almost a running flat, expanding flat. No, running flat with a sell setup here, right on the 15. So that is gone. So we'll wait for if we get a 1 hour setup for a buy or a sell. We don't have either right now. And looking at the way this is very sharp to the downside, I would not be surprised if they come back here and then go up, which means we could be looking for a running flat. So there could be a sell setup. So what you're going to do is you're going to wait for a flag like this to confirm a sell. If this is going to come down, let's get a flag somewhere here to confirm the sell setup. For the buy, if they stay in that consolidation longer, it has to stay much longer for the buy. Because what we have there is not a buy setup, not on the 1 hour, not even on the 15 minutes. Right in the 15 minutes, that's not a buy setup. Right? So the only way that could become a buy setup is if this is all one piece, that is one piece, this comes down here, go back up there, break the top, come back here and then go. Now we will get a buy setup within that structure, right? Can we get a sell setup? Well, there's a small one there. I don't know how far that is going to go, but we can wait to see what it gives us. You probably want one like this, right? Not that piece coming down, but this one. That will make the sell setup. Euro, we are getting a sell setup, and I'll be inclined to take the sell setup because if you remember last week and if you watch those videos, you'll see I still think this is a big expanding flat in the middle. And we might be right about that. This is a running flat here, which is the reason why we never come to trade that to the upside because of the slowness of this. So now that it's at the top there, we can make an assumption that we're coming back here, right? If we're right about that, that's a good trade. So if we get a sell setup, I think we should take it. No hesitation to take it. Then we definitely have a sell setup that we're going to take. It's an aggressive trade in the 15 minutes. Take the trade, put the stop above the top. Here's the first place you're targeting. Your first one you're targeting is this one. I think all my traders already figure out that we're going to target this first. It's still a good trade. We want to exclude the possibility of a running flat for upside. So if that is a running flat, it will stop here and go back up. That is a very good trade. If they consolidate and go back up, which means if all you get is this, which means it drop like that, break this, but start to go back up, well, we'll exit the trade. And we'll exit it on the 15 minutes, not the 1 hour. Right, which means if this break here and start to do this, we'll get rid of that trade. We want to actually see it drop. You want to see it drop like this. You want to see it drop, you can put it to break even and then let it crawl down or let it keep dropping. It can keep dropping. The reason we're taking it is not for that running flat. The reason we're taking the trade is that if we are right about what we think this is, an expanding flat with an expanding flat in the middle, then this thing is going to drop. And we already have one like that. It's not a case, I think there's an expanding flat just ahead of the previous one, the previous correction had a similar, very, very similar pattern. An expanding flat in the middle. See this expanding flat in the middle here? With an expanding flat here. I think this is just a bigger version of that. So if that worked, then this one might work. And if you're getting the trade from the top, that's great. So let's see if that works. If that doesn't work, then we'll hope it's a running flat and we still get positive out of that trade. So I like the trade. I think we can take it. It's a risky trade, but we know how to manage it. So let's take the trade and see where that goes. The risk to reward would still be very good. I should put this trade on the account, but again, if I stop to do that, this webinar will take forever. So I hope it doesn't break by the time I finish here, and then we'll do. Pound. Very similar structure, except you don't have the sell setup. See the difference with the pound and the euro. There's similar setup with this here for a possible running flat, but we don't have the setup. What's the bigger trade? The bigger trade is pound going up. So there's a high probability that becomes a running flat, right? Because this is going up and this has nothing to do with anything in the past, except with this one. That is what it has to do with. So if we get a consolidation here today, if this becomes a running flat here, we will go with that trade. If it's not a running flat, they could come down pretty deep, go back up, come back here, make a bigger flat like this, maybe even one like this, and then head for the top. So if euro is going to drop quite a lot, this could come down, but it will come down much slower than the euro is going down. Right? So we'll be aware of that. I still think this will get to the top, right? We were buying this a lot last week, and we'll continue to buy it because I believe it's going to get to this top. And if we get the setups to prove that belief system, we'll go with it. Right now, we don't have that. We're getting a downside and they're crawling down. Ignore it. Let it come down here, and then we will look for, if this is a running flat for a buyer, let it come down here. And then we see if we buy it back, come back here, and then we'll see what trades we get. We don't have anything right now. Aussie. We did break the low. So here's the question. I think we spoke about that last week. I explained that we did break the low. Now that they broke the top and they make a new low, again, it makes a new low that is pretty deep, right? So it's not giving us any sign that this thing is trying to, somehow go up. Right? Even this one did not say, well, okay, we're trying to go up. It's just saying that they're consolidating, and this could be a separate consolidation of its own. If that is a separate consolidation of its own, I don't see how we put all of this together. There's a possibility you look at this as an expanding flat, but then this would have probably ended it. And this did not break the low. So I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go with two separate consolidation. We'll see. Maybe it's still one big one. If they come back here and then go back there and come back here, then we'll figure out all of that. But for now, we're going to take it as two separate consolidations. And then this one, that pullback is pretty deep. You do have a 1, 2, 3, but then this pullback is sharp. You got another sharp pullback there. And looks like we're going to make another pullback, but we don't have a trade. This is more of a small flat for upside, which we're not going to buy. If I thought this was going to take off, we'd be buying this already. Right? If we had seen that we didn't have this deep pullback and we didn't have this pullback and there weren't so many pullback in this thing to the upside, that would have been a perfect buy. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it break the structure. If we're going to buy it, we're going to let it break out of the structure and then make a pullback, and not just a flag, but a pullback, and then we're going to buy. That would be the safe to trade. Buying this now would set you in trouble. It could tag the top and then drop. Right now, it still looks downside. Aussie. Sorry, did I say Aussie? New Zealand. New Zealand went back to the top. Let's take this out and let's take this out. This is a big flat. That's another correction. I wouldn't put it with this for the running flat, although we were looking for a running flat. Because right now it doesn't look like part of a running flat. It could be just a separate thing. And if we go with one of the running flats, one of the impulses having three ways in a running flat, then that would probably work. So let's go back here and see what we have. Let's take this out. We're expecting it to go back sharp like this and then go down, right? So all we have to do is move this a little. Now, what if it is still going up but not sharp? We don't have a trade setup. I would hate the idea of buying this until I get this. So until we get this for a running flat like the euro and the pound, we wouldn't be buying it. If we get that, then we'll consider the buy. Right now, we don't have a sell setup. Right? It could come down, but we don't have a sell setup. Yen, we do have a sell setup, and I think we should take this trade. So if this drops, you want to trade. It's a short trade because you wait for it to break the low, and if it becomes a channel, you get out of it. I don't think they're channel. I think they're trying to drop. Right? So we know yen can drop quite a lot because if this is over, we're coming to retest this low. If it is not over, then at some point they might just break the low and try to go back up. We'll get rid of the trade, and then we'll start to look for buy. If that happens and it goes back up, we'll go with this running flat. The one we originally looked at, remember we said that it's likely going to come back for this, and we might go with that. That is if it goes back to the top. If it doesn't go back to the top, then we'll assume that, okay, this is the one we have, and right now we're just going to go down. So the sell setup is not a bad idea. I think we already have a running flat here. We can make an argument for this running flat. I think that's pretty clear. This has a 1, 2, 3 in it. This has a small one. It has a small one. Let's see when it drops and break the low, what happens. So it's a sell setup. If this goes back too high, we take it off. But for now, it's a perfect sell setup. That's a perfect sell setup for now. So we'll go and see. What I think we had a sell in the silver, right? Oh no, buy in the silver for that running flat. There's one with a sell setup. I probably didn't put it. That's a euro. Yep, euro sell setup. The only way this changes from a sell is if this actually goes back to the top. Let me just make that point for everybody. Is if this actually consolidates and come back into this range, we'd assume they're making a flat here for upside and we'll take this trade off. Right? But if it stays in this range here, then it's a sell. So if it stays, if this consolidation, let me just put a line so we will know what we're looking at. I'll just put one of these horizontal line. So if it stays under that horizontal line there, that still remains a sell. If it goes above it, we take that trade off. There's a reason for that. CAD. Okay, so let's see. Did we break the top? Nope. Oh yeah, we broke the top, sorry. So the downside on CAD is pretty good. We wanted that downside. It's actually started from exactly where we wanted it. So let's see if we can get a trade. On the 1 hour, there's that sharp pullback. How sharp is it? Nope, not exactly sharp, right? You can make an argument for a correction. I would probably still like to see them go back up. I'll still like to see this probably do this and give us this as a running flat. Or consolidate here longer and give us a sell setup. So let's see if we have the sell setup. Go to the 1 hour. We have 3 hours. I think we can take the trade. I'll take this off. We already broke the top. So we can go with that trade for a sell because we want this sell setup, right? Put a stop above here, go with this trade, and the target is way down at the bottom. It's not going to go immediately, but that's the target. Way, way down at the bottom. I think we can finally make an argument for this running flat, which we were looking at. That's good. You just do this just for practicing. All right, so now we're looking for this to go down to the bottom, and this is exactly what we forecast a couple of weeks ago. Come break this top and then reverse back to the low. When it comes to this low, then we'll decide how low it goes, retest this low, or turn and go back up. So go to the CAD, that is a sell setup. We'll go with it, 1 hour. It's more of a 1 hour trade because you have 3 hours there. You can look at it in the 15 minutes and see if it makes sense. I think it's more of a 1 hour. If it goes much higher, the trade is still valid, except the stop loss changes. We'll treat it as a running flat. Swiss coming down. Let's see if we were looking for the downside. I think we were. And first break this low, and then we, in the bigger picture of things, if the CAD keep dropping and if the CAD keep dropping and the yen keeps dropping, then and the dollar index keep dropping, we're probably going to come back to this level and break this low. After that, we'll see where it goes, right? But in the big picture of things, there's a chance they can get to break that low. First, you want to break this low. The trade is to break this low. And then we'll see what happens. So do we have a trade to the downside? It's kind of channeling here on the 15. Kind of pull back, drop, pull back, drop. Go with the drop, and if it starts to pull back, treat it on the 15, close the trade. So if this goes back way too high, like that, we'll wait for the setup. We don't have a, but this is not going from the low, right? So we're not thinking of buying it, right? It could probably go back a little high, drop to the low, go back up, close the trade on the channel, look for the buy setup, or look for a deeper correction, whichever we'll decide at. Right now, it's a sell setup. It's a 15-minute trade. Keep it on the 15, and we'll see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to skip all of these because there's no sense doing them. If for those traders who would like to see if you're watching this and you would like to see all of that done, join the installment program. It's very cheap. It's less than a coffee a day, and it will give you access to 2 live trading, 2 live 1.5 hour session. All the sessions we did that last week was like an hour, 40 minutes. They give you the London Open and the New York Open, 2 live sessions. That money you're going to pay is not going for these webinars. Those are free. The money will go towards paying for the course, which will allow you access to the group and lifetime access for free. If you want to see all of that, do it because the time is too consuming. For our traders, once we close the webinar, we're going to go into the trading room and do that because I don't want this webinar to be too long. So I'm going to go with natural gas. Yep, the sell was good. It dropped, it stopped. Looks like we're going to get a buy setup. We might still get that running flat in play. Let's see if we have the buy setup here. I think we can do that. We can go with this trade. It's a buy setup. The only reason we take the buy setup because the possibility of a running flat still exists. And this one did go up like that. So I think this going back to the top here will give us a perfect running flat for downside. Right? We've got correction there. We've got correction here. And all of that, we've got correction there. And all of that is in this one. So there's a good chance we're looking for running flat and then upside. Let's put a buy setup, aggressive buy, stop under the low. You know what to do with it. US oil. Yep, that drop was good. We didn't break the low and we're going back up. Now, the question is, if it's making a flat, do we need to break the low? No, we don't need to. That's a running flat. So take this out. If this is the low for the running flat, which means we don't need to break it, and this is going back up, you want the buy setup. So that sell was perfect. Take that out, take this off. And let's look for the buy setup now. Do we have a trade? Not exactly, because you had this one and you had this one, right? And you have this one. So that's the up move, and now you're kind of correcting here. Let them make a correction or a flat here, and then we'll go with that one. So we're waiting for a flag for the buy, and then we'll go with that. S&P 500. Go to the 1 hour. Yep, that drop was perfect. This one was perfect. This one was perfect. Those were two trade setups we made last week. The call was there. You can go and check it. It actually dropped a little more. Remember, once we broke that low, it becomes dangerous in the sell. And the only one you wanted to sell at that point was the US 30, which didn't break the low, right? Not this one. One of them didn't break the low. We'll figure out which one. No, this actually broke the low too. So it wasn't the US 30. We'll see which one. Go back to the 1 hour and go back to S&P 500. We're looking for the buy setup now. If you were there last week, you know that's exactly what we want. Break the low and then turn. I think we can get a really good trade if this pulls back here. We can get a really good trade if that happens. Now, should we take this smaller flag for that to happen and assume there's a contracting flat here? It's an option, but you just have to be very careful with that option, because it's about 8 hours consolidation. Sorry, not 8, I'm no 15. It's 3 hours consolidation. So I think it's better if it pulls back to this level here, and then it's a buy setup. I'll put it as a flag for a buy because only 2 hours, so you manage that. But if it stays here and consolidate, we're buying. Same here, and same here. If it goes much lower, you take off those trades, right? Because much lower means we're making a bigger flat here. Those are the rules we have. Nifty, you do have a sell setup. If you take the sell, take it with caution, because this is sharp and this is sharp. So it might not drop very far before it pulls back for a possible running flat. DAX. Okay, so that was breaking the top. This was a sell. If you took the sell, wonderful. I think some traders took the sell. We're getting another sell setup. And this is a good trade. You can do the same thing, put an entry here, put a stop here, and that's a sell setup. So we can go with this for an aggressive sell, put an entry here, put a stop above this. It's a running flat, so you can literally trade it like a running flat for my traders. Tesla, going down more, so we'd assume Tesla is not going to go back up. That's all, and we're going to go down. Any flag you can sell and retest this low. Actually, you want a little correction, not just a flag. You wanted to start making something like this to confirm the downside. And that would be a good trade to the downside. I'd come and break this low. Bitcoin, nice trade to the upside. So now that you broke the low and you reverse, so we'll still assume now we're making a bigger correction. Well, now it's confirming upside. Actually, there was a nice flag there if anybody was paying attention to that one. When they broke the low, most likely we were thinking downside, but that didn't become a correction. It's going up, so we'll retest the top. So you can wait for any correction now. You wait for that confirmation, get any correction here. You don't jump into this trade because this thing could come back here. Right? For traders who are looking at this and think, well, now it's going up. No, I'm in, I'm all in. You got to be careful. You wait for that confirmation. Wait for it to do something here. And if they do give you that confirmation, go for breaking the top and see whether it takes off like a rocket. It could. There's still a chance it could, especially with that sharp move. And that means a lot of the cryptocurrencies went up. Yep, same here. Well, this one, we expected this to go. We never thought that this one is total downside because we were expecting this move, and now it's going to probably finish that move. That is the move, right? Finish that move. And then from there, very likely it could come back down. That's not necessarily, but very likely, because this pullback was deep. Take that off. Right? So you can look, take this off. That was the sell. And take this off. Now what you're looking for is a flag and get into the buy. You really, really need that flag here. I'm on the daily, but you will need a 1 hour flag here to confirm the buy to the top here. Let's go back to the 1 hour. And wait for a flag. There was a small one here. I'm not sure anybody took that, but if you took it, well done, because there was a running flat before that. And if you get a consolidation here, go. If you don't, they can still drop. So consolidation will just confirm the upside, and the same probably here. No, this is still downside, by the way. Take this off and take this off. This piece still looks downside to me. We didn't break the low. Did we break this low? We tagged it, so that's enough. If they want to go up, they can go up. Once the low is tagged, right, this can go back up. But I would wait for a flag here also, because you don't want this to be an expanding flag that goes down. So wait for a flag here, and this flag would be your buy setup to the upside. Just like this flag was your sell setup to the downside. So we get the flag, we go to the upside. Go on the 1 hour, wait for that confirmation. See, this could definitely be an expanding flag that drops one more here. And that is why you wait for flags on all those trades, because they can drop down. This one is literally telling you to drop. And this, same, this would make a running flat for upside, actually. This comes here, this is a perfect running flat for upside. What's the big picture? At least one more upside. What's the big picture here? Well, like I said, if this is a big expanding flat, it can still go up. You might even go with this one and think of all of this as one big correction. That upside is still possible. So you're getting a buy setup here right now. This pulls back a little more here. Sorry, pulls back a little more here and then go. That would be a buy setup. And at this one, we will end it. Right? So if you want access to all the other webinars and all the ones you normally get when you join us live, join the sessions, right? Like I said, it's less than a coffee a day. One guy asked, where do you buy your coffee? Well, I can tell you in Dubai, if you go to any of the coffee shop, I mean a really good coffee shop, not where they make instant coffee for you, right? If you go to a coffee shop, you pay 19 dirhams. That's an equivalent of divide by 3.6, anybody very quick. Right, so 3, 5, 15. It's about $5, right? So literally $5 for a coffee in Dubai, a good coffee. You have more expensive one. I'm not going to go to those 5-star, 6 stars hotel to buy coffee because I can't afford it. I'll tell you right now, I'll go to a regular coffee shop and it's going to be $5, right? So if you pay $5, that's $10 a day. Right, $10 a day, by how much? 5 days, 10, 5, that's $50 a week. Right, that will give you about $200 a month. You're only going to be paying $100 a month, and you will have access to those 2 live sessions. And guess what? That money will go to pay for your education, right? To really train you to become an independent trader, not for the webinars. The webinars is just to make sure you don't lose your account. And if you make money, great. My traders can make money because they already have the knowledge. We have a lot of installment traders who are making money. Actually, they're paying out faster than I expect. Some of them are paying out $500, $700 a month. They probably have a big account and they're making money. So it will be up to you. If you want everything, join us. Thank you very much. Enjoy these videos and don't listen to the hype. Take care. Trade with care. Bye.